Welcome to the Sober and Happy podcast, where we talk about all things recovery related, how to navigate the challenges that we'll face along the way on our journey towards our best lives, and how we could go from living a life of simply just being sober to a life where we're both sober and happy. Today, I want to dive into a topic that could truly transform your recovery journey: finding purpose and passion in your sobriety. For many of us, alcohol or drugs were used to fill a void, to cope with the lack of direction or meaning in life. Once we remove those substances, it's crucial to find something positive to replace them with. Something that gives us a sense of purpose and ignites our passions. But how do we find purpose and passion in sobriety? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing today. So buckle up. This is going to be a great episode. Welcome back. Let's start with the simple question. What does it mean to find purpose? Purpose is about having a direction in life, a sense of meaning that motivates you to get up every morning. It's about knowing that your actions and efforts contribute to something larger than yourself. When I first got sober, I struggled with this concept. My life had revolved around alcohol for so long that I didn't know who I was without it. I didn't know how to do anything without alcohol. Everything I considered fun included a drink in my hand. Worse yet, although I still would feel occasional moments of fun at the end of my drinking, I no longer felt the peace and comfort that alcohol provided me in the beginning. I was drinking not to feel horrible, but I never drank to feel good anymore because it simply did not work. If I could no longer feel relief from the only thing that I found that once gave me relief, how would I feel without it? I was absolutely terrified of the emptiness I felt. I knew I needed to find something to fill that void, something that would give my life meaning again, but I had no idea where to start. I remember laying in bed in my room in rehab one early morning after another sleepless night, feeling completely lost and hopeless. At the rehab I was in, we had a gym and a personal trainer who would come in some mornings, so I decided to head down to the gym. I was the first one there, and as we had some small talk, he could tell something was bothering me, so he asked me what was up. I told him I was struggling with not knowing what I was going to do after I got out, and that I didn't even know what I enjoyed doing without drinking. He asked me, "What did you love to do before alcohol took over your life?" It seems like such a simple question, but I still couldn't answer it immediately. I was so far in the depths of my addiction that life before it seemed like a distant memory that was almost forgotten. But that question sparked a journey of rediscovery for me. I thought about what I loved doing as a kid: hiking, fishing, exploring the outdoors, long days on the lake, playing baseball or bowling with my friends. I realized that my passions had been buried under years of addiction, and it was time to start uncovering them. Many of these things I thought I couldn't do again because alcohol consumed those activities also. I didn't think I could enjoy camping again because I always drank when I went camping. The thing is, I enjoyed camping before I started drinking. And if I thought more about it, I probably enjoyed it even more. Camping drunk really just meant drinking outside, playing my music so loudly it probably took the joy of the outdoors away from other people, and passing out in a tent every night. But when I camped when I was a kid, it was a big adventure. I went out and explored every day. I truly enjoyed the beauty of nature. One of the first steps in finding purpose is reconnecting with those old passions. Ask yourself that same question. What did you love to do before addiction took over? What activities made you lose track of time because you were so immersed in them? Maybe you love drawing, but you haven't drawn anything for years. You might have always loved playing an instrument, but slowly your addiction has taken over and you've become separated from that passion. Maybe you've always known you were meant to be a parent, but alcohol has gotten in the way of being the parent you knew you were truly meant to be. Reconnecting with these things can help reignite a sense of joy and purpose in your life. Your passions are not lost forever. You have just misplaced them. Our focus shifted, and we just need to refocus on what is important again. For me, it started with getting back into hiking. Being out in nature and away from the chaos of everyday life helped me feel a sense of peace. It gave me time to reflect and think about my life. Slowly, I started to feel a sense of purpose returning. Something else magical happened while doing this. It opened up the idea in my head that I could find happiness in sobriety. That morning in my room in rehab, I was stuck in the mindset of never. I was never going to be able to have fun again. I was never going to be able to find friends again. I was never going to be able to do so many of the things I enjoyed again. I was never going to be happy again. I remember the moment when I finally questioned that belief system which had me stuck in never. I was hiking with myself on a Sunday morning. I sat on a rock to rest and grab a drink of water, and I noticed a deer with a couple of her babies. They didn't see me, so I got to just watch them. The babies were playing together under their mom's watchful eye. It made me smile. I became absolutely consumed in that moment. I noticed the fresh air, the cool breeze blowing, the warmth of the morning sun on my skin, and all the sounds of nature. It was beautiful, and I was at peace for the first time in a long time. At that moment, I thought, if I could rediscover a love that I thought I had lost forever, what else could I discover? In that moment, never turned into what if. Getting sober didn't limit what I could do. It opened up a whole new world of possibilities. Finding purpose and joy isn't just about finding things we used to enjoy doing. It could also involve exploring new interests. Sobriety opens up a world of possibilities that we might have never considered before. Could also mean finally starting those things we promised ourselves to do someday. It is an opportunity to try new hobbies, take up a class, volunteer for a cause you care about, and step out of your comfort zone to discover new passions you didn't even know you had. One of the new things I discovered is my love for helping other people. I think I've always possessed this passion, but for most of my life, I didn't think I had anything to contribute to the world. The rehab I went through was a pretty intense program with a lot of homework that we needed to do thoroughly enough so that the counselors would approve it before we could move on to the next step of the program. I picked up on it pretty quickly, and as other people noticed that, many came to me for help in the areas they were struggling with. This did many things for me. It made me feel good about helping others. It got me out of my head for those moments and gave me a sense of purpose which I had not felt in a long time. I knew that was something I wanted to continue to do. After rehab, I spent several years in AA where I sponsored many people in the program, which only increased my passion for helping others. When I knew that my direction and my recovery in my life were not aligned with AA anymore, that was the only thing I did not want to give up. So I began exploring other ways that I could help people struggling with addiction. I stopped being anonymous and found that people all around me were struggling and didn't know anyone to reach out to, and I could become that person. Then I decided to get out of my comfort zone, and I started this podcast and I started posting on social media. I realized then that I could continue my passion even if my path in recovery changed. I just had to keep pursuing it. Discovering our purpose and passion is not a passive activity. We can't just sit around and hope it finds us. We have to be willing to try things. And when we try something and find it isn't for us, we must be willing to try something else. Finding purpose and passion is a journey, not a destination. It's about continuous growth and exploration. As we evolve in our sobriety, our interests and passions may change, and that's okay. Stay open to new experiences and be willing to adapt. Trying new things and pursuing new passions can initially be scary and a little overwhelming, especially if we're worried about not succeeding. But remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about the process of discovery and growth. Embrace the journey, learn from your experiences, and celebrate your progress no matter how small. Finding purpose and passion in sobriety is about reconnecting with old interests and exploring new ones. It's about creating a life that excites and motivates you, a life that makes sobriety not just a necessity, but a joy. It truly is the road to a life where we are not just sober, but one where we are both sober and happy. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I hope you enjoy this podcast. Here's your weekly challenge. I want you to try something new this week. It could be something that you used to enjoy but haven't tried again since you got sober, or it could be that one thing you've always said that you're going to do one day. Stop putting it off until one day in the future and make that day today. That is my challenge for you this episode. New episodes come out each Friday, so I look forward to connecting with you next week. And as always, thank you so much for listening and keep living sober and happy.